Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the session. So, we are back again with a new session for Karnataka Assistant Professor exam. It's our second session tonight in this series, and tonight our session will be focusing on American and Indian literatures. Yesterday, we talked about British literature. And so today we will be focusing on American and Indian literatures. All right. So please like the session if you're watching the video right now. And on that note, let's get started with our session. All right. Great. So let me start by sharing my screen. All right. Yes. So I hope my screen is visible to you all. Right. Yes. Great. So let me welcome you all again to our second session of Karnataka Assistant Professor exam. Right? So tonight, let's discuss Indian and American literatures. Are we all ready? Yes? Right. Let's get started. Here we go to the first question for tonight. Home and the World by Ravindranath Tagore. It is set against the backdrop of which historical event? Is it partition of India, Sepoy mutiny, Second World War, or Swadeshi movement? Home and the World by Tagore. Tell me, it's a very popular novel by Tagore, right? This novel was published in 1916. 1916, right? Yes, correct. And this novel illustrates the battle that Tagore had with himself and between the ideas of Western civilization and against the Western culture. And it's also a very important work because it exposes, it reflects on the freedom struggle of India against the British government, against imperialism. And this novel is specifically set against the backdrop of the Swadeshi movement. Swadeshi movement. All right. Home and the World by Tagore is set against the backdrop of the Swadeshi movement. Right. Next. The Old Playhouse is a poem by whom? Tell me. The Old Playhouse. It's a poem by whom? Is it by Nissim Ezekiel, A.K. Ramanujan, Kamla Das, or Toru Dutt? Tell me the Old Playhouse. It is very easy. Yes, this is a poem by Kamla Das. The Old Playhouse. It's a very powerful confessional poem by Kamla Das, and it depicts a woman's stifling, loveless marriage to an older, egotistical man. It depicts a woman's stifling, loveless marriage to an older, egotistical man. And please remember, it's a confessional poem by Kamla Das. The Old Playhouse. The Old Playhouse. Correct. Next. Which of the following statements most accurately captures the ideological paradox in Nirad C. Chaudhary's Autobiography of an Unknown Indian. It celebrates Indian nationalism while rejecting Western epistemology entirely. It critiques British imperialism while simultaneously affirming its civilizational impact on India. Or it constructs a purely personal narrative devoid of its historical consciousness. Or it idealizes pre colonial India as a homogeneous and unified cultural entity. Tell me, the autobiography of an unknown Indian. The autobiography of an unknown Indian. It's a work of ethnographical autobiography. It's a work of ethnographical autobiography. And it's a very controversial work, actually, right? So now we have to identify what's the ideological paradox here that we find in this ethnographical autobiography of Nirad C. Chaudhary. And this work was published in 1951. 1951. Please remember it's a work of ethnographical autobiography. So the ideological paradox here is that it critiques British imperialism while simultaneously affirming its civilizational impact on India. So, this is the ideological paradox that in this ethnographical autobiography, on the one hand, Nirad C. Chaudhary critiques British imperialism, but on the other hand, he also highlights the positive impacts. He highlights the positive impacts British Empire had on India. So this is the paradox. On the one hand, he is criticizing British imperialism. On the other hand, he is emphasizing the positive impact of the British Empire, of British imperialism on India, because of how British imperialism brought about English education, right? How it brought about technological advancements. So, because of those reasons as well, he praises British people also. So, this is the ideological paradox that we get to see here. All right. Yes, correct. Next. Hayavadana by Girish Karnad is based on which work of Thomas Mann? We all know Hayavadana. It's a very popular play by Girish Karnad. Now, this play is based on which work of Thomas Mann? Is it The Magic Mountain, Death in Venice, Transposed Heads, or Dr. Faustus? Or Dr. Faustus? Tell me. Very easy question. Hayavadana by Girish Karnad is based on Thomas Mann's Transposed Heads. Thomas Mann's Transposed Heads. Thomas Mann's Transposed Heads. Please read the summaries of these works thoroughly. Okay, after this live session, please make it a point to read the summary of Hayavadana by Girish Karnad. It's a very important work. All right, yes. Next, in Jayanta Mahapatra's poem Hunger, the narrator's ultimate realization that the other one, the fish slithering, turning inside, it signifies a shift from what? From sexual guilt to moral indifference, from physical hunger to an existential realization of exploitation, or a voyeuristic desire to an empathetic understanding of poverty, or a detached observation to a personal active participation in the act of pimping. Tell me. Hunger. It's a very important poem by Jayanta Mahapatra. Hunger. Hunger. If you know what this poem is about, then you will be easily able to answer this question. So, this line actually marks a shift from physical hunger to an existential realization of exploitation. Right? Jayanto Mahapatra's poem Hunger is a very sharp poem, and it explores extreme poverty and the dehumanizing compromises forced by survival. This poem talks about a desperate fisherman who offers his 15-year-old daughter to a stranger to escape starvation. And this poem thus entails physical, sexual, and economic hunger. It intertwines, it brings together physical, sexual, and economic hunger as the girl complies out of necessity. So, to put it simply, this poem Hunger by Jayanta Mahapatra, it explores how severe economic constraints strip away moral inhibitions and human dignity. So initially, when we see that the poet is actually hungry, that was physical hunger. But towards the end of the poem, that hunger, that physical hunger shifts to an existential realization of exploitation. That what poverty can make people do, right? Yes. Next. So before we move on, let me give you all a reminder that we have already started our Karnataka Assistant Professor course. This course is going on right now. If you haven't joined this course yet, please do. In this course, we will give you self-paced videos, live sessions, focused revision classes, PDFs, and obviously quizzes and model tests for intensive practice. So please join us and prepare with us for your exam. Right? Okay. I hope all of you have liked the session. I hope all of you are liking the questions. Yes? Great. Chalo. Next question. Mango Souffle is a 2002 Indian English film written and directed by Mahesh Dattani. It was promoted as first gay male film from India and was adapted from Dattani's own English play Dash. So this movie, Mango Souffle, it is based on which play of Mahesh Dattani? Is it Tara, Bravely Fought the Queen, On a Muggy Night in Mumbai, or Brief Candle? Or Brief Candle? Tell me. The movie Mango Souffle. The movie Mango Souffle, the first gay male film from India. It is based on which play of Mahesh Dattani? On a Muggy Night in Mumbai. On a Muggy Night in Mumbai. Very good. Next. Hester Prynne, Arthur Dimmesdale, their characters in which work? Moby Dick, Huckleberry Finn, The Old Man and the Sea, or The Scarlet Letter? Tell me. Hester Prynne, Arthur Dimmesdale, their characters in which novel? This novel was published in 1850 and it's a major work of American Renaissance. Tell me. Hester Prynne and Arthur Dimmesdale, their characters from Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter. Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter. Very good. The female contains all qualities and tempers them. She is in her place and moves with perfect balance. She is all things duly veiled. She is both passive and active. She is to conceive daughters as well as sons, and sons as well as daughters. These lines are from which poem? I sing the body electric, mending wall. The soul selects her own society, or the emperor of ice cream. These lines are from which poem? The female contains all qualities and tempers them. These lines are from the poem I Sing the Body Electric by Walt Whitman. I Sing the Body Electric by Walt Whitman. Please remember, quotes from poems will be very important. If you look at the PYQs, if you look at the PYQs of Karnataka Assistant Professor exam, you will realize previously also they have asked questions from poems, from quotes. So please go through these poems as much as you can. All of you have the syllabus, right? So look at the poems prescribed in your syllabus and go through these poems. At least 2 to 3 questions will be there from quotes. So please read these poems and easily answer them. Okay? Right. Very good. Next, we have a big question. In Beloved, we all know Beloved is a novel by Toni Morrison, right? In Beloved, the physical manifestation of the ghost is not merely a gothic device, but a necessary ontological intrusion that forces the characters to bridge the gap between a rememory and lived reality. Here, the ghost of Beloved functions as a porous vessel, accumulating the traumatic histories of the 60 million and more, while simultaneously draining Sethe of her life force, thereby highlighting the parasitic nature of unaddressed collective trauma. Based on this above critical statement, identify the most appropriate interpretation of Beloved's role in this novel. What is the role of Beloved? What is the role of this ghost of Beloved in this novel? Can you tell me what's the role of the ghost of Beloved in this novel? What's the role of this ghost of Beloved? Here, Beloved means the ghost of Beloved represents the return of the repressed, acting as a consuming force that demonstrates how trauma cannot be repressed without destroying the self. So, to put it simply, here the ghost of Beloved actually exposes the destructive nature of trauma, the destructive nature of trauma, how trauma haunts people, how trauma haunts people, yes. So, the ghost of Beloved in the novel Beloved by Toni Morrison. Right? Very good. The Zoo Story by Edward Albee premiered in 1959 at the Schiller Theatre in Berlin. In which genre is this one-act play primarily classified? What type of play is The Zoo Story by Edward Albee? What type of play is The Zoo Story by Edward Albee? Tell me. It belongs to the genre of theater of the absurd. It belongs to the genre of theater of the absurd. Correct. Very good. Next. Emerson, statement one. Emerson argues that books are the primary and most important influence on the mind of the scholar, acting as the ultimate source of original thought. Statement 2. Emerson warns against the danger of the scholar becoming a bookworm or a mere thinker, rather than a man thinking, by passively accepting the authority of the past. Tell me, Ralph Waldo Emerson, a major American author and thinker, right? What would be the answer? Here, statement 1 is incorrect, but statement 2 is correct. Okay, Ralph Waldo Emerson, a very important author from the syllabus. Ralph Waldo Emerson was a transcendentalist thinker and philosopher, right? Yes. In Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman, what is the primary thematic irony of Willie's final decision to commit suicide? In Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman, what is the primary thematic irony of Willie's final decision to commit suicide? Death of a Salesman, it's a realist play by Arthur Miller. And it talks about the salesman, Willie Loman, who was essentially a delusional man. He believed that to be successful, one needs to be very popular, very well liked. And hence, he was an example of the failure of the American dream. Right? Yes. So, what is the primary thematic irony of Willie's final decision to commit suicide? He believes his death will prove he is well liked and successful, while the funeral is practically empty. He always believed to be successful, one needs to be very famous, very well liked. And he thought that once he dies, there will be a massive funeral for him, that many will come to attend his funeral. But that delusion breaks. And in the Requiem, we see that no one attends his funeral. No one attends his funeral. Right? So that's the irony. Okay. What is the primary thematic significance of the line, the only emperor is the emperor of ice cream? It's a line from the poem, The Emperor of Ice Cream by Wallace Stevens. And here, what do you mean by this line? That the only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. It means what? It signifies what? It signifies the ultimate triumph of life's sensory, fleeting pleasures over death's permanence. Because life is transient, it is ephemeral. It's like melting ice cream. Our life is like melting ice cream. It is passing every second. So, according to the speaker, the only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. It means just enjoy your present moment. There's nothing in cold, lifeless death. What you have is your current, present moment that is flitting by. So the only emperor is the emperor of ice cream. Means the ultimate triumph of life's fleeting pleasures. It represents the ultimate triumph of life's sensory fleeting pleasures over death's permanence. Because life is like a melting ice cream. It is melting away every second. It is running. And there is nothing in cold death, but there is so much in your current moment, right? So it's a very popular poem by Wallace Stevens, The Emperor of Ice Cream. Okay, that's all from our side for tonight. I really hope you guys loved the session and enjoyed answering these questions. And we will see you again in the next session. If you haven't joined our Karnataka Assistant Professor course, please join us and prepare for your exam with us. All right? Great. So, good night. Bye bye and take care. Okay, bye.